Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. All that is created must end. All that begins must terminate. Therefore, if we create happiness out of indulgence with the worldly things, we do get the pleasures, but it is only for a short period. And thereafter, again we start struggling. So if we have to write our autobiography in one line, what we will do, we have been struggling to get happiness by fulfilling our desires throughout life. Until now, we have not discovered fulfillment in life. What is required is the fulfillment, not the fulfilling the desires. However, we cannot deny our experience. When I desire something, like common example, in the morning, in every house I stay, when the host and the hostile are sleeping, hostile means wife, host means the man. And if there are children in that house, there are hostilities. And I remain as a hostage. So, when they are all sleeping, I get up early morning because I have no problem. That is my default settings. And then I have to have my cup of tea. And my cup of tea doesn't require much, only hot water and tea bag is enough. So, when I don't get that cup of tea, I am not happy. Then I prepare that cup of tea and have it. Aha, Brahmanandam, Paramasukadam. Now this happiness that I get as a result of enjoying that cup of tea in the morning, I can't deny that. It is there. And therefore I come to a conclusion. When I don't have a cup of tea, I am miserable. When I have a cup of tea, I am happy. Therefore, happiness comes from the cup of tea. So simple. But if we go deep in analyzing our own experiences, then we come to know that we are miserable when the mind is disturbed. Because what is a desire? Desire is a disturbance in the mind. And we want to remove the disturbance. So we know only one way. Fulfillment of the desire, remove the disturbance, and therefore we are all the time trying to fulfill the desire so the disturbance is removed. But we have never taken cognizance of this fact. You fulfill one desire, second is standing in the queue. You complete the second one, third is standing in the queue. There is no end. Therefore, we have to think. If desires are natural to human mind, we will not like to remove them. See? Like the head on my shoulder is natural. But a backpack or a bag on my shoulder is not natural. So whenever I am going anywhere, before I sit, I take out that backpack and put it because it is not natural. Whatever may be the headache, I don't remove my head and keep it, I am tired. No, because it is natural. Exactly the same way. If desires are natural to human mind, we will not want to remove them. But what we are doing is removing every desire, and we know only one way. And that way is fulfill the desire, desire is removed. Be attentive. We know the desire of cup of tea, desire of something to eat, desire of a new car, desire of a place. And in this manner, that basic principle of desire remains intact. Like knowledge of chemistry, knowledge of maths, knowledge of cooking, knowledge of bluffing, of. But the knowledge is a common factor. Similarly, the common denominator, the desire principle, is not removed by us. See, friends, and therefore all our life is spent only in this. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Balastavat Kridasaktaha, Tarunastavat Taruni Raktaha, Vruddhastavat Chintasaktaha, Parame Brahmani Kopina Raktaha, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Childhood goes in fulfilling the desires of the childhood toys and all that. Youth comes, then the different toys. Old age comes with the worries. So where is happening everything? Be very attentive. This is the basis of spiritual life. Everything happens only in the mind. If there is no mind, there is no problem. All experiences, good and bad, they are happening in the mind. Unless we transcend the mind and start living through the mind, we have not born as the seeker of truth. Toward the conclusion yesterday, I told you all the paths which are indicated in your scriptures, they are meant only for one thing: work on your mind. And working on the mind is only one thing: samatvam yoga uchyate. Keep the equanimity of the mind intact under all conditions. That is important. Bhagavad Gita talks about the problem, and the name of the problem is mamata. Don't go to West Bengal. Remain here. Mamata is the problem. And this mamata can be sorted out by samata. See? And this is what is God realization. Yesterday I mentioned this thing. World comes to us in the form of complementary pairs. Many people translate dvandva as pairs of opposite. I disagree with that translation. They are not opposite. They are complementary. If there is no disease, health has no value. If there is no poverty, riches have no value. If there is no death, life has no value. See, friends, they are complementary to each other. So, the world comes to us in the form of these complementary opposites. Bhagavan says, when this world comes to us, joy, sorrows, there cannot be all the time miseries. It is not possible. You can be happy 24/7. You cannot be miserable 24/7. That which is eternal, that is the truth. In the deep sleep, we are not miserable, but we are there. And nobody had the experience that I had 8 hours of sleep and I was miserable. No. So happiness is the reality and not the dukkham, not the miseries. Miseries are because of what happened to Arjuna. Dharma sammudha cheta, he was confused about his identity. Therefore, yesterday's talk's conclusion was, Bhagavad Gita tells in first 6 chapters a clear format wherein you have to redefine and discipline your identity. Define your identity. Who are you? So we come to know we have to play many, many roles. So play your role perfectly well. But remember, at that time also, you are just playing a role. But we get carried away by the role. See, friends, with this we start leading. Now, to lead our role perfectly, what is required is discipline. A person who is not disciplined, he cannot perform any role perfectly. So these are the two things which are brought out in the first 6 chapters of Gita: karma, dharma and yoga. Dharma is with reference to the world. Yoga is with reference to the body. When these two things are practiced, knowingly and unknowingly, such persons become very strong personalities. You will see those who are karmakandis, those who are doing their job very well, nicely, sincerely, they have got a very strong eye. One example I'll give you. There was one lady somewhere and she came and started crying. Swamiji, please tell me what should I do? I said, I don't know. Do whatever you like. She said, my father died pretty early. I was the eldest one. I had 2 sisters and 1 brother. There was nobody to support us. So I have worked hard and got my sisters educated, my brother educated, got them married, got them settled. Now I am 45, 48 plus, but nobody wants me. I have done so much for them. My sisters tell, our husband don't like you coming here, please don't come. My brother tells, my wife doesn't like you coming here, please don't come. We love you, but we have to live in our own life. We can't have every time cut because of you. So she is all alone, so miserable. See, friends. Now what is the reason? She asked me. I said, Mama, you will not like it. The reason is, you must be a very strong, imposing personality. I have done so much. I have done so much. Do good and forget. But these people who do so much good to everybody, they have that very strong ego, I. And therefore, toward the end of their life, they are lonely in a crowd. They are not able to merge with the totality. See? Therefore, you see, karmakandis are very angry type of person. When they are doing any karmakanda, little bit of things here and there, they become angry. See? So also in the case of the yogis. Yogis also have got tremendous anger. They will be cursing for no reason. And there is a possibility of fall in dharma, dharma bhrashta and yoga bhrashta. Bhagavad Gita, there is a word. Shuchi nam srimatam gehe yoga bhrashto vijayate athava yogi nam eva kule bhavati dhimatam. So there is a possibility of fall in dharma shastra and in the yoga shastra. And what is the fall? The fall is we are brought down from the divine glory to the devil expression. And such people, they spend their whole life, but toward the end of their life, they are totally frustrated. They have not discovered fulfillment in life. See, friends, I remember, I don't know, right from many years, I had no interest in seeing God. And this happened because there used to be one great master, and I used to attend his satsang. In one place it so happened, there was a crowd, very unruly crowd. And I was sitting on the floor, Mahatma Ji was sitting. And in that crowd, somebody will come, put chandan on his head, and put a flower garland around his neck, and put one apple as a paperweight on the book, and do pradakshina. And in that chaos, the mic is not proper. And that time he was having his lower intestine cancer. He had cataract operation in that condition. But he was absolutely at peace. And in that crowd, one person got up and read a question paper, not one question. Maharaji, these are the questions. And in that chaos, I was that time young, I was feeling, I should go and give everybody, shut up. But I could do nothing. That time the blood was boiling out of the body. Now it is gone. Now there is no blood. There is only Paramatma. So, after his question paper was read, this Mahatma Ji restated the same questions in his words, which included the answers for all the questions in one go. Who can do this? He whose mind is at peace 24/7. Just now, July has gone. India is full of wonderful WhatsApps. One person wrote me, Swamiji, you told me you should love your wife 24/7. Yes, today I am doing that. Today only I love my wife, I told. According to Swamiji, I love you 24/7. 24th July, I love you. Thereafter, don't ask. So, when I saw that day I had decided, oh Lord, hang around. Where will you run away? God cannot go anywhere. See, friends, that day onward, my spiritual practice is be at peace with yourself. A person who is at peace with himself or herself, he is at peace with the whole world. A person who is not at peace with himself or herself is at war with the whole world. And thus, when the life continues, we come to learn from our experiences. Real study of Bhagavad Gita, real study of Vedanta is when you start learning from your own experiences, not taking the book in the hand. Madhva said like that, Shankara said like that, Ramanuja said like that, Tilak said like that. What about you have to say? Khana nahi mila, daridri. See, friends, therefore, every verse of Bhagavad Gita is the biography of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Every verse. What he said, he lived it. That is the way to study Bhagavad Gita. So, the first 6 chapters, they give us these 2 messages. Establish your correct identity so that you have redefined your I. And then second thing is you are self-disciplined. Nothing in this world should be able to disturb us on anything. In Mahabharata, there is shlok, Sarvam paravasham dukkham, Sarvam atmavasham sukham, Etad vidyat samasena lakshanam sukha dukkhayoho. All dependence is misery. All independence is happiness. Thus, be self-disciplined and redefine your I. So, inside, are we one or a crowd? I as a man is one. But I hardly live as a man. I live as a son to my father. I live as a husband to my wife. I live as a father to my son. And thus, there is a poultry farm inside. Not one. Now, out of all these things, which is the reality? The son is the real, or the husband is the real, or the father is the real, or the man is the real. And then we come to know all those who are disturbed. The son is disturbed, the husband is disturbed, the father is disturbed, who do not exist. Show the husband separate from the man. Like we can show the clothes are separate from the body. Show the husband separate from the man. One day one young boy asked me this question. Normally I don't entertain questions because my principles are very clear. Every question is about not self. This is one spiritual practice. What is that about which we have no question? We have no question about our being. That I am or I am not. No question. What sadhana will you do? Every question is only about others. And it doesn't matter anything about others. See friends, that is Adhyatma. So the three components of our life Bhagavad Gita tells, one is the world, and world includes the relations and possessions, and the second is I, the gross body. So with reference to the Adi Bhautik, there are two principles to be practiced according to Gita. Follow the Dharma Shastra, and second is be self-disciplined. This is Adi Bhautik world. And when we start living, unknowingly our I becomes very strong. See friends, those people are very clean, those people are very disciplined. You watch them. I see my whole life is only a vacation and a fun. So I am not serious about anything. One day I went to one of my friends and they are Iyengars. And I know most all the communities in India now very well. And they are plus minus points, so it is a fun to play. So when I went to their place, I asked that, Amma, food is ready? Yes. They said, Mama, you know, I don't take eggs, fish, meat, then onion, garlic, okay? Swamiji, in our house, nobody has touched eggs or onions. We are not like others. Immediately, our goodness becomes such a burden on us that we start condemning others. See friends, this is how the I develops. And those who are self-disciplined, they do not tolerate indiscipline in this world. One should be punctual. Yes, be punctual yourself. About others, don't worry about others. See friends, those who are perfectionists, they expect perfection from the world. It never happens. Because they are perfectionists, they are perfectly miserable. Perfectionist, not ordinarily miserable. So this I factor, instead of getting diluted, it becomes very strong, so we have to get out of it. So the second part of Bhagavad Gita begins, wherein the process of I dilution begins. How the I can be diluted? From 7th up to the 12th chapter, Bhagavan gives us the technique of diluting the I. And this process of diluting I is called as the path of devotion. A devotee is the one who does not vote. devotee, who doesn't get lost in this world. His attention is only on the Paramatma. So from the 7th chapter onwards, Bhagavan starts giving us a different vision. Now this is one very simple rule. As is the vision, so is the perception. As is the perception, so is the interaction. As is the interaction, so is the experience. As is the experience, so is the quality of your life. See? When we see this word, yesterday I was talking to that baby's mother. I said, Mama, you must have seen this, or next time you do it. When there are two kids, one is your son, second is other child of the same age. So when you are looking at these two children, what is your experience? So when you are looking at the other child, you look at that child as, oh, he's very good, but they should be disciplined, they are making too much of noise. But when it is your own child, then everything is forgotten. The foolishness is glorified. The dirty things are appreciated. Because, be attentive, now that mother is in a process of dilution of her eye. This process of dilution is called as the path of devotion. We have to dilute this eye. And this can happen only through proper understanding. See, once here only in USA somewhere, when I went to somebody's place, I just landed on the airport. I reached. They said, Swamiji, today there is no lecture for you, but if you want, you can come with us. We are having a program whereby child is participating. I said, okay, I'll come. What will I do sitting at home? So there was a big stage like this, and there was some small kids program, various animals. So all the children have put on that costume and a mask. And this Amma who took me, she was taking the video and told me, Swamiji, you know that elephant is my son. Now he is not seen, only because he is a mask, nothing can be seen. And she took the whole video and everything was done. And after everything was done, then the boys started coming and her son started coming crying. So the choreographer told, no beta, don't worry, it happens sometime, don't worry. So what happened? Then she told, he got nervous, therefore he did not come on the stage. So I have to put somebody in his place with that costume. Now the video which was taken, my son is acting as an elephant, where that elephant has gone. Immediately delete, because my son is not there. See friends, if this principle is understood, Bhagavad Gita gives in the 7th chapter this understanding. Jnana Vijnana Yoga. First knowledge, then application. Science is knowledge, technology is application. So like BITS Pilani. See, Birla Institute of Technology and Science. It is wrongly said. It's science and technology. Technology comes later. First is science. But then it becomes BIST. Therefore, they must have made it BITS. So, I go there for a lecture. Therefore, I know about it. So, the science is given first. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakrutirashtadha. The 5 great elements, mind, ahankar and intellect. These are together 8-fold my prakriti. Prakriti is matter, is my prakriti. If this prakriti belongs to Bhagavan, and if Bhagavan is our daddy, so the prakriti is our mom. So with the mother we have bhoga or the yoga. When you look at the world, that this is God's creation, this belongs to God, not to me, immediately the bhoga prakriti will be withdrawn. Bhagavan Shankaracharya in his commentary writes one place, whatever a lusty a person may be, but when he comes in front of his own mother, his lust will die immediately. In the same manner, a devotee doesn't look at this world a place of indulgence and enjoyment. Vinna prakriti rashtada. First principle to be known. Second thing, aparatu iyam anya vidhi prakriti me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yedam dharate jagat. My other prakriti is jiva bhuta prakriti, and that is one. Now this knowledge which Bhagavan tells, be attentive, it must be clearly understood, then the things will become easier. Ashtadha prakriti is eightfold. Jiva bhuta prakriti is onefold. Our understanding is there is one jiva per body, one soul per body. Like there is one soul per shoe, in the same manner, one soul per body. This is not acceptable in Bhagavad Gita. There is only one, not one per body. So what is the jiva? Jiva bhuta, Paramatma expressing through the prakriti, that expression, the prakriti and Paramatma together is called as jiva. See, what is the reflection? Our beautiful face, mirror, and the reflection of our face in the mirror. These three things together constitute a reflection. If there is no mirror, no reflection, but we continue to be exactly the same way. Man, Paramatma. Wife, mirror. Reflection of the man in the wife as husband. Now who is miserable? Husband is miserable, man is never miserable. So the jiva bhuta prakriti, that is what is creating problem because of misunderstanding. We have this funny notion that I am jiva in this body, you are jiva in that body, and therefore we keep on talking punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, hell and heaven, going to the papa, punya, dharma, dharma. No. See? And third principle Bhagavan says, these jiva bhuta prakriti and the prakriti ashtadha, that is governed by me, that is Ishvara. So three things, jiva, jagat and Ishvara. To understand this, take a simple example of cricket. On a cricket ground, how many things are there? Batting team, fielding team, umpire and the ground, four things. Suppose somebody bowls perfectly well, good length ball. Will the umpire appreciate? No. But if he does a no ball, he will be told you are no ball. If the batsman hits a sixer, the umpire doesn't appreciate. He simply does a sixer, that's it. Gives judgment, no appreciation. Suppose one of the two teams gives walkover. No man, their bowlers are very dangerous. I don't think we should play with them. Let us give walkover, doesn't matter. So when the batting team gives walkover, will the fielding team remain on the ground? When both the teams have gone, will there be the umpire? When all the three have gone, will the ground disappear? If this is clear, jiva is one team, batting team. Jagat, world, is a fielding team. Ishvara is the umpire. And Paramatma, the Brahman, Bhagavan, is the ground on which this game is incessantly going on. And in this cricket, bowlers are never out, fielders are never out. The umpire is never out. It is only the batsman who is out. Think. So, who has to do the spiritual practice? Who has to earn the run? The batsman. So, I as a jiva who thinks myself to be separate from others, that is creating the samsara. And this is born only out of wrong understanding. See friends, till such time I have the sense of otherness. Upanishad says, Dvitiyat vai bhayam bhavati. Wherever there is a sense of otherness, four things happen. One is desire, second is anger, third is fear, fourth is enmity or attachment. You cannot avoid it. And that is samsara. Therefore, this sense of otherness is the cause of all the problems of life. Unless this is sorted out, you may do anything in life. It will remain throughout life. See friends, any sense of incompleteness will not give you fulfillment in life. What is necessary is fulfillment. This principle I learned in Badrinath many years before, when I was pretty young. There was 5-6 Mahatmas sitting. I also went to see what is going on, so they called me, please come and sit here. So I sat. And there was a floating population, so many people come there for darshan. So about 50-100 of them were sitting. And then he said, okay, you talk in Gujarati, you talk in Hindi, you talk in Marathi, you talk in Tamil, people will understand. So everybody was talking and I was also sitting along with the Mahatmas on the dais. Then that Mahatma told me, you talk in English, it seems you know English, all people are talking in local language, you talk in English. So I spoke 5 minutes, and after everything was over, everybody did namaskar to him, I also did namaskar. When I was going, he said, you wait. So I waited. Again I sat on the floor in front of him. He said, no, you sit next to me. So I sat next to him. And he said, I wish I had studied English in my life. I would have gone throughout the world and spread the gospel of Gita throughout the world had I known English. But I did not study. That day I discovered what is the use of the study of scriptures. If you have a sense of incompleteness, you are in a wrong track. Bhagavad Gita says, Etad buddhva buddhiman syat kruta krutyascha bharata. Life is totally fulfilled. When the death comes, such a great master shouts at the death, come on, why you are late? Not afraid. Because all that is to be done is done. There are no loose ends and left in life. So these Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, these three principles are supported by the common denominator. Like the son, the husband and the father. These three personalities are supported by the man. When the father dies, there is no son. When the wife dies, there is no husband. When the son dies, there is no father. But when the man dies, none of the three can exist. So what is the reality? The man or these three? See friends, the more you contemplate in this line of thinking, the one who is miserable doesn't exist. Now when he doesn't exist, how can you help him? See friends, then what we have to do? Play your role, that's all. The whole life is only playing the role. Therefore, Rama Leela, Krishna Leela. See friends, So, what is the ultimate truth? Mattaha parataram kinchit nanyadasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. This is the ultimate knowledge about the truth. Mattaha parataram, there is no cause of me. Mattaha kinchit, there is no effect from me. Mattaha anyat, there is none other than me. Then this whole world is like the golden beads woven together by a golden thread, wherein the thread becomes the support and the beads become supported, but both of them are essentially gold alone. This is the ultimate truth. So why we are miserable? Because we do not know our divine nature. And the most beautiful part is, the word used is self-discovery. We are not creating the self as a part of sadhana. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyage naike amritatva manashu. The whole process is the process of renunciation. And it's not something great we do every day. Only thing we don't know that we are doing it. What is the process of going to sleep? Today when you go to sleep at home, from today onwards start this as your spiritual practice. When you are going to sleep, just observe what you are doing. First of all, you withdraw from all your business. Whatever you may be, you withdraw from there. Thereafter you close all doors, windows. Then you get in your room, switch off all the lights. Below the quilt, you are sleeping now, eyes closed. Everything is closed. Then last japa begins. I want to sleep, I want to sleep, I want to sleep. Till such time, I and want is, sleep doesn't begin. When this I and the want disappears, sleep begins even in the satsang. That is why those people who sleep in satsang, I like them the most. They get everything for what they have come. I remember one experience, right in the front, two persons were sitting in Bombay. And one was a descendant of Kumbhakarna, and second was the follower of Dunlop. The Dunlop was round, very nice. And Kumbhakarna was born Kumbhakarna. So with the moment lecture started, he slowly collapsed on the shoulder of this Dunlop pillow. So Dunlop pillow got angry and moved like this. But Kumbhakarna was committed. He put his hand around the pillow. And what I was seeing from here, it was such a great fun for me. After the lecture was over, he was the first to come and tell me, Swamiji, you are awesome. I said, very few people understand me. Thank you very much. He went. Now this Dunlop got angry. Swamiji, when you saw him sleeping, why didn't you wake him up? I said, look here, be cool first of all. You tell me what for you have come to my lecture. To become miserable or to discover happiness? I came for happiness, but I said, be cool, be cool. He got the happiness. You are still struggling. Be attentive. Why we are happy in deep sleep? Very simple principle. Because we are not identified with the body. In the deep sleep, we are neither man nor woman, neither young nor old, neither husband nor wife. Therefore, husband and wife, where the husband doesn't dare open his mouth before the wife, in the deep sleep, he snores loudly. Where from the courage comes? Because he is no more husband. Ha ha! See, friends, this is the principle. Discard this body identification. There are only two things to be known on the spiritual path. One is freedom from body identification. Number two, freedom from the notion that you are a soul in the body. No, you are expressing through every body. For this you don't have to go anywhere. Just analyze your own experiences. Like all colors and forms are seen by one vision. There are not different visions for different colors. And all the differences do not influence the vision. Then all sense organs are nothing but expression of the mind through these 5 gadgets. When the mind comes out of the eyes, it is vision. When it comes out of the ear, it is the hearing ability. There are not 5 minds. And further you go, one consciousness expressing through every body as mind is one. Like the mind becomes the vision because of the structure of the eye. The same mind becomes the hearing ability because of the structure of the ear. Like the electricity becomes the light because of the bulb, becomes a magnetic field because of the fan, becomes the amplification because of the amplifier. The differences are on account of the gadgets fixed to the electricity. Exactly the same way, one conscious reality expressing through the man's body, beard grows. See, when I was in China, I became a big hit there, both among gents and ladies. Among gents because of the beard. Language is a problem, so they simply show. Because they have got one hair somewhere. So, one person asked me, he knew little English. He said, since when you are growing it? I said, since childhood. Oh, therefore it is so big. He couldn't understand the joke. From the childhood, how can you grow the beard? Therefore, when consciousness expressing through the man's body doesn't become a masculine consciousness. When expressing through the female body doesn't become a feminine consciousness. Therefore, there is no he God, she God. See, friends, the same consciousness expressing through the cow becomes milk. Expressing through the cobra, it becomes the poison or the venom. See, friends, when our attention does go from multiplicity to unity, we come to this point. Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Be attentive. No cause of me. That means I am causeless existence. Is it not true? Do we have the experience of our birth? We don't have. Somebody tells us. This is your date of birth and this is the time. Once I happened to go to one maternity home because of some reason. So after seeing that my friend's wife's baby, he had some fight with the nurse. He said, you will not come inside, I will call police. So he called me, Swamiji, please see, I don't know what is happening and this nurse is my enemy, I don't know why she didn't allow me. He was a very hot-tempered person. So I went in the morning at about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I could speak to her language. So she said, you can come, not him. I said, it is not my baby, it's his baby, let him go, who cares? He said, no, I will allow you, not him. So my friend said, okay, Swamiji, go at least see who is there, what is there. So I said, this is the lady. And then she saw the belt number, 420. She said, this is the baby. Squirrel type. That was the first time I have seen in my life a baby born maybe about half an hour, 2 hours before. Squirrel type baby. So ugly. Then I said, this is okay. What is the time of birth? So she told such and such time. I said, Mama, questions over. Now my general knowledge I want to ask. Don't misunderstand me. No, Swamiji, you tell me. Then I told her, I said, how do you know exactly what time the child is born? When the head comes out, then he is born, or the tail comes out when he is born. And they are not only one lady, there are dozens of them. So many of them are coming out any time, and you are one here looking into the watch. How do you know who has come what time? He said, you are very right. We tell them approximately. But we keep in mind one thing definitely, we don't tell them round figure. If we tell that baby is born at 12 o'clock, they will never believe in us. We say 11:59. We have no experience of birth, we have no experience of growth, we have no experience of death, and we have no experience of absence. This is the meaning of Mattaha Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya Sarvam Idam Protam Sutre Maniganaiva. So this me supports the waking, dream, deep sleep and samadhi. Bhagavad Gita says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhiras tatra namuyati. Now try to answer this question to yourself. Where your small, cute little body has gone? Where your arrogant teenage body has gone? Where your frustrated middle-aged body has gone? And where your pathetic old-age body will go? Find out. They have gone nowhere. But they are there. And we have no experience. And we are born, we are growing, we die, we are absent. No. This principle is our essential nature. Once this becomes the point of orientation, then our interaction with the world and the quality of our interaction changes. It is for this purpose the path of devotion is said. Then Vijnana, the application of this knowledge. So suddenly we won't get this knowledge. So the teacher gives, like in our KG1, KG2, children are taught with the support. Chocolates are given, children are interested in chocolate. So 1 chocolate plus 1 chocolate is equal to 2 chocolate. We think we are teaching 1 plus 1, 2. Child's attention is on the chocolate. But slowly he learns the concepts. In the same manner, we are told to see this divine principle which is supporting everything. In the 7th chapter, 15 examples are given. Where it is said, Raso hamapsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoho pranavaha sarva vedeshu shabda ke paurusham drushu. So he goes on telling that among the Vedas I am the Omkara, in the space I am the sound, in the waters I am the taste, in the fire I am the form. So these are the different unities, and in that see the divine principle. Like we see, among all of us, I am a South Indian, I am a Gujarati, see? So first, among the Americans, we are Indians, one group. Among the Indians, we are the Nata and Tana. You know that Nata and Tana? So in this manner, small groups are formed and we identify our people there. In the same manner, when you move in this world, focus your attention to the common denominator. And after having told this, Bhagavan says, Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sugruti norjuna arto jigyasu arthati jnani cha bharatarshava. 4 types of good people are able to follow me. First, those who are artha. When miseries come in our life, they are God-sent blessings. See? Be attentive. A devotee never complains. Why? Because he has understood. It is something like this. I had a pain in my tooth. So is the pain given to torture me? The pain is to remind me, hey, there is something wrong, take care right away. See? When we put our clothes for washing in the washing machine, that time, do we put the clothes and put a lot of detergent and hot water and high speed? Then we look at the clothes and say, now suffer, now suffer. No, they are not put for suffering. They are put there so that they can be reused. In the same manner, every difficulty in our life is to purify us. Take care on time, you will be saved. This is the technique the Lord gives. And therefore, difficulties come at the finance level, at the body level, at the sense organs level, at the mind level, at the intellect level. And each difficulty, each misery is reminder. If you feel insulted, understand your ego is growing beyond proportion. See? This is what Bhagavan says in God realization. When the complementary pairs come to you, your mind is at peace, you are not disturbed. Manapamanayoho prashantasya. When honor and dishonor happen in our life, the equanimity is not disturbed. See, once I went to Puttaparthi, Satya Sai Baba's place. And there I spoke for 1 week or so. And in that talk I explained what is the meaning of Prashanti Nilayam. That was the place where he was staying. After I explained this, they said, my God, we never knew this. So what is Prashanti? We know Ashanti. No explanation is required. Absence of Ashanti is Shanti. Then what is Prashanti? Prashanti is that which is not disturbed by Ashanti, and that which is not enhanced by Shanti is Prashanti. See? So, joy comes, we don't lose our proportion. When miseries come, we don't get buried under the miseries. Similarly, honor and dishonor. When honor and dishonor do not disturb you at all, and when the joy and sorrows of life doesn't make any impact on your mind, then you are living in God. Paramatma Samahita. See, friends. So here attention is on our blissful self and not on the world. Miseries can be attributed to somebody, but we are miserable by choice. If you learn this art of refusing to be miserable under any condition, even God cannot make you miserable. But we cooperate, miseries come, and we become miserable. Don't. Refuse. Insult the misery, make the misery miserable. See, friends, like here I am staying with Prema Mama. I am getting everything that I want. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, I am going to Minneapolis, where should I go? Can you suggest somebody? Yes, you go to their house, they are very nice people. So another person will come. Suppose she does like this, I hope she will not do. That when I go to take bath, she will switch off the water. When I am taking food, she will add a lot of salt or lot of pickled chilies. Then, next time somebody asks me, go anywhere, don't go there. See, friends, in the same manner, when miseries come our life, we become miserable. So the next misery will come. Where should I go? Go to him. He is very easily available. Learn to insult the miseries. Don't cooperate with them. And be attentive. Expansion of life is only through happiness. A miserable person cannot expand. When we laugh, we don't laugh inside the stomach. But we are miserable inside the stomach. What happened to you? What is there remaining to happen? Did anybody insulted you? Who respects me? Inside. But when you are happy, ha 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 ha. A real devotee is always happy. Many of us have got this funny notion. Devotion means, pavo hum papa karma. Don't do that. He told me he doesn't like crying guys. Be always happy. And don't we like somebody happy? When somebody is happy, we like. Imagine, if you are happy, what will be the experience? The real meaning of dissolving the ego is you are happy under all conditions. The impact of the miseries fall only on the ego. Like yesterday I told you, more hurt you get, more egoistic you are. Less hurt you get, less egoistic you are. Bhagwan doesn't get hurt at all. Yashoda Maya scolded Bhagwan Krishna when he was eating the mitti. I think in the last life you were a pig. So imagine you call a child here in this country pig, 9/11 immediately. You have called me pig. See? So, when Bhagwan was called you are a pig, immediately he was worried, my God, whether she knows me or what. I was the Varaha avatar. So he created confusion. He didn't get insulted. See, friends. Therefore, the real spiritual practice is this. To dissolve the ego, be happy. There cannot be simple. I am not giving any mala in your hand. I am not telling you go around that poor God 100 times. No, only be happy. Paramatma expresses through us only in the form of happiness. Let us be an instrument so that He can express through us. The more happy you are, less ego is in you. Bhagwan has no ego, therefore Paramananda. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.